Welcome back, my name's Steve and thank you for joining me on my photography journey today. It's time for another lens review today and I want to talk about this one. This is the 35mm F1.8 S from Nikon and it's, I think, my favourite lens. It may not be the best lens in terms of versatility because it's 35mm prime lens, but it is the best in terms of image quality. So that's a bit of a spoiler about what I'm going to cover in this video, but there we go. Let's get into a bit more detail. So this is the 35mm lens on the Nikon website. You can see it's about £800 here. And let's look at some of the specs. So minimum aperture f16, that's as small as it can go. None of these are actually that important. Minimum focus distance, 25 centimeters. 62mm filter thread attachment, and it weighs about 370 grams, so it's relatively easy to carry around. So I got this lens back in May 2022. I bought it from mpb.com, paid around about £600, and looking on there recently, they're still around 600, maybe even 650 for this lens. So just goes to show that when you invest your money in decent glass, in decent lenses, then that money is an investment, it's not money wasted. It's a far better way to spend your money than on a brand new camera every time one's released, because that technology changes so quickly, whereas a lens will last for years and years and years. So for this actual lens, I've used it for taking around 2,000 pictures, recorded lots of videos on it. It is my lens of choice for filming these videos. But today I'm on my 24-200 at 35mm, so the shot should be about the same. The thing that sets this one apart is that it's an f1.8. What's on the camera at the moment is at around f5 at 35mm. So you'll probably notice a bit of difference in the background. So we'll swap over to this one in a bit, but for now, that's what this shot is being filmed with. Obviously, I want to talk about the photography side of things. So the lens itself has got a focus ring if you want to focus manually, or if you want to assign a custom function to it. So I generally assign aperture to my lens rings so that it's easy to adjust that when I'm out in the field taking pictures. Buttons on the side, well, switch, you've got an automatic or manual switch for focusing, and that's about it. That's all there is to the lens. You can see the aperture inside. It's a Nikon Z mount, it's all metal. I always keep those on there to keep it safe. It comes with a hood, which I will more often than not have attached because it's a good way to protect your lens. It does add a bit of length to it, but it doesn't add any weight. So what you can do if you're transporting it is put it on the other way around like that. And then also a lens cap on as well to keep it safe. And this can come off and on without the lens cap moving either. So usually when I go out, that's what I'll have attached to my camera. Once I'm out in the woods, I'll take the lens cap off and I'm ready to shoot for the day. So talking about pictures, let's go and take some in the woods. I need to take the dogs for a walk anyway, so it's a perfect opportunity to go and get some pictures. I'll test out this lens while I'm out there. And the idea is that we can test it in different situations, different lights, moving subjects with the dogs there, landscapes. There's a lake at the woods as well, so we get a variety of pictures and then I'll report back. The kind of main things that I'm looking for is how sharp the pictures are, what the actual quality of them is when I review them later. And I want to be able to see how the f1.8 aperture affects pictures that I'm taking. So normally I would be shooting at about f9 for my landscape. So my 24-200 is an f5 to 6.3. So that's perfect. I can put that up to f9 and that works without any problems. I've got that zoom. But what does the quality of the f1.8 get me? The amount of extra light that can come in, will that change my pictures at all? So let's go and find out. So as you can see, I'm back. I have my f1.8 lens on the camera now, so this shot may look slightly different. Because it's a faster aperture, I've had to decrease the ISO. I needed a higher ISO when I was using this lens, the 24-200, because the aperture is far bigger on this lens than it is on that one. but otherwise the shot should look roughly the same. I just wanted it in here for a bit of a comparison. So let's go through some of the pictures that I've taken in the woods today. I didn't actually film a whole lot because I was concentrating more on taking pictures and getting different options as to what we were looking at. So let's have a look at those now. So as I said, first up, I wanted to compare the F1.8 and the F9. What's the difference? What's in focus? What's not in focus? So that's what we're going to look at first. Using F1.8 has two main advantages. It lets more light in, which means that I can use a faster shutter speed and keep the exposure the same. This means it's easier to take pictures of moving subjects, such as two dogs that I happen to have with me. It gives a much narrower depth of field, so the background should be more blurry, the subject itself perfectly in focus. This means that when I go to F9 for a landscape picture, you end up with more in focus, which is kind of the main point of going to F9, so that you get as much of the landscape in focus as possible. Another way to do that is to take a picture at F1.8 and then focus stack. So taking pictures at different depths so that everything is perfectly in focus, but nice and sharp with all that light coming in at F1.8. Mix them all together in Lightroom, and then you should have the same kind of image at the end of it, but with more kind of crispiness and more detail to it. And that's exactly what we're doing here. So first of all, we need to line up our images and then stack them together. We're doing all this in Photoshop actually rather than Lightroom. And then it kind of blends them together and gives you a new layer with the information on. Just takes a moment. And we can open it back up in Lightroom and let's just have a look. Oh, looks good. So we've got this one blurry bit in the middle. Everything else looks quite good. But as you can see, the front looks good, the back looks good, but this bit in the center is still out of focus. So I think I would have needed to take another picture focusing on that, because I've taken one of the front and one of the back, and the rest is all absolutely fine in focus. It is just this one bit in the middle. So we've got this picture of a leaf or a branch. We can zoom in and see the quality here. Look at the detail you can see at the end here. It's really nice. And the colours are good, the background's nice and blurry. That's kind of where we were to start with. And you can see all the little details of the leaves. Oh look, there's a spider web or something. You can zoom right in, it's still decent quality on here, isn't it? Look at that. So there's no doubting the quality of this lens, is there? That's a great picture and lovely blurry background, like I said. And now we've got a picture of Branston. Let's see how sharp this is. Oh, that's not bad, is it? Look how in focus his eye is. And you can see all the hairs on him as well, his whiskers. That's really nice. And then what we can do is just crop this a little bit and just make it a bit more, that should be about right, I think. And then let's lighten this up. Let's just use the auto, I think. That's a bit brighter. Yes, look at those whiskers and that hair. Probably a bit bright, so let's bring that down just slightly. Nice. And now we've got Ruby. Oh, quite blurry, but I was focusing back here. Still not ideal, is it? So we're at F1.8. So all this foreground is quite blurry, even though, yeah, it's not the most in focus picture. The ground is blurry, so it's not 1.8 definitely isn't ideal for landscapes, is it? So this is some tree bark. Again, the details on that. I'm nice and close to this one actually. So some of it is in focus and then the background is nice and blurry, so that's good. Back to Ruby again, nice black and white one. Let's have a look at the detail on her hair. Oh yes, you can see her. That's nice and clear, nice and in focus. And look how we're quite zoomed in and it's all looking nice and sharp. Nice. And then it's baby Branston. Look at his little tongue hanging out. Wow. Nice and clear. And actually look at that dribble on him with saliva. Let's zoom in. look how detailed his tongue is, the lines on his tongue. I mean, that's fantastic. That's such a clear picture. And it's not a massive amount of megapixels in the Z5, but look at the quality from this lens. Thank you for watching today, and don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you again next week for more on my photography journey. Have a great week. Bye.